This is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 6 of
Pero Let Me Tell You.
Pret is ready because pret à manger is ready to eat and pret à poter is ready to wear.
Oui.
You see? Look at me learning things because of Julia Roberts and hunger.
I mean, that's not where I was going with that, but I mean, hey,
we learn how we learn.
We learn how we learn. So, welcome everybody to episode 264 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
You were pausing and I literally just told you this.
Okay, so what? So what?
It's been a long day.
So what? I'm still a rock star. I got my rock moves.
Pink.
And I don't mind you. And yes, Pink is so cool.
Pink is one of those people that I think everyone appreciates, but nobody stops to think about how much they appreciate her.
You think so?
Like when you bring up Pink in a conversation, people inevitably have like a song of hers they like, and everybody always says like, oh, it's so cool, she does all the gymnastics. So people appreciate her, but I don't think people think about the appreciation.
Right. They're not always saying that how the accolades that she has.
Right.
That.
She's not always getting flowers.
Right. She should get some flowers.
She should get more flowers than she does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miley Cyrus should serenade her.
Oh. Well, because Miley also on the cover of her album was on that trapeze thing, so maybe she learned from Pink.
I don't know. So how is everybody? Episode 263,
264,
264. Listen, it's been a long week.
It has
back
been.
To school.
Oh, how was that?
I want to talk to back to school in a minute.
Okay.
Because back to school is like a whole conversation.
It is a conversation.
It is. So I hope everybody's doing really well. I hope everybody, especially if you have kids or you're involved in education and somehow, or you just drive to work. Ya empezó la escuela, so los tranque ahora todas las mañanas.
It took me mañana y por la tarde también.
Y por la tarde, yeah. I think that por la tarde one is worse.
It took me an hour and 15 minutes to get from my house to the gym on 87th and Coral Way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, it's the first day, and
it was raining too.
Yeah.
But lucky for our listeners, we are car pickup lane friendly, so you can listen to us right when you're picking or dropping off your children.
HOV lanes?
Uh-huh.
I like to call them the Jay-Z lanes because it's Hova.
Because Hova, right. Well, yeah.
Well, almost Hova.
Yeah. So it's almost Jay-Z.
If you know, you know. Anyway, you know how they say that like you need to have two people there or whatever?
Right.
Has anybody ever been cited for taking the HOV lane with one person? Because I feel that the citations of the HOV lane are as accurate as the citations for littering. Like, everybody tells you, no, don't litter. I mean, you shouldn't litter.
Right,
but don't litter because they'll give you a $500 fine. I've never met or heard of anyone that's gotten a $500 fine for littering.
In all fairness,
people litter.
I don't want to be that person either.
Well, no, but you could be hearing it from someone else,
Right.
Just like we spoke last week about cars and canals. We've never stuck our car in a canal, but we've heard other people talking about it,
Okay, that's true.
We don't condone littering.
We don't condone littering. I don't know of anyone. También es que lately, I don't know about the HOV lanes anymore. Porque ever since they converted it to the fast express lane, and I don't know where the HOV, do we have HOV anymore? Is it now just the express lane? And then the one on the expressway doesn't go anywhere and it takes you past Hialeah. I'm very confused.
Some of these HOV lanes in other I would say jurisdictions in other counties not county states, they're very like strict, and it's like if you can be like jailed, and it's like, oh my god,
for driving one person. Goodness.
It's like, don't take the HOV lane. Oh my gosh, speaking of HOV lanes, I actually started telling you this today. I came across on I think YouTube Shorts this TV movie from 1979 called like The Highway Killer, that it's this black van that in LA it would just ram women off the highway.
Oh, it's probably based on a true story.
Yeah, and George Hamilton is in the movie.
Is he the killer?
No, he's not. They don't show the killer. And so is Dinah Shore.
Dinah Shore.
And I was like, didn't Dinah Shore just host shows?
I know Dinah Shore, but I don't know why I know Dinah Shore.
I know Dinah Shore because when you see like especially celebrities from the 60s and 70s that are doing like some type of anthology or documentary on them, they'll always put a clip of them on the Dinah Shore show.
That's true. I will say, now that you brought up TV movies, Tubi, this is not a paid endorsement, but I have found Tubi has like all of the old TV movies starring Meredith Baxter.
Do they have my first name is? I know my first name is Steven.
I've been looking for that one. I haven't found it yet.
That is like that is
TV
quintessential of
yeah.
the TV movies.
Oh yeah.
And you're over 40 if you know that one.
Yeah, I've been looking for that one. They have, they have all the ones with Judith Light. With Jenny Garth and Meredith Baxter.
Joanna Kearns.
I actually watched one with Joanna Kearns the other day.
Where she's a bad mother. Celeste.
Oh, yes.
You hadn't seen it?
I did not know that movie.
Oh, that she has like the big hair.
Yes.
This was post-growing pains.
Yes, and it's based on a true story.
Yeah, she's terrible.
She's wonderful. Because actually,
I never saw Maggie Seaver that way.
It was her and Grant Show from Melrose Place, and then this girl, I can't remember her name right now, that she was on 90210. But it was wonderful because it was actually, I feel like it was one of those TV movies where everybody knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So everybody was like just camping it up. Yeah. Like they really played it right. They didn't try to be.
You didn't know about that movie?
I didn't know about it.
You know what? And that movie was on for a while. Like it was on rotation for a minute.
I loved it.
It was on rotation for a minute. Do they even still make TV movies?
The only one that still make them are like Lifetime. The Lifetime movies that
so
they make.
It's not your ABC Sunday night special.
Exactly. They don't make those anymore. Yeah. But I'm so happy now I found them on Tubi.
They were so bad though.
But they're wonderful.
Yeah. That's like they don't do after school specials anymore.
But that stopped way earlier. That stopped like mid 80s.
I don't know. No more because Malcolm Jamal Warner used to do a lot of them. When he was at his peak. So I would say maybe late 80s, early 90s. I don't know. But speaking of that, I do want to talk about back to school, and I was
going to say, you want to talk about Celeste?
We'll talk about it for a minute. Have you heard? But this is something that when I started reading on it this week, I was like, I have to bring this up on today's episode, and we have to talk about it. Right. Have you heard of the movie Zepotha?
No.
Zepotha.
Zipotha.
Zepotha. Zepotha. Not sure.
No.
Because its trailer has like millions and millions of views. So Zepotha is a movie it's a 1980s horror movie, and right now all the content of it has gone viral.
But it's an old movie from the 80s.
There's people who are doing makeup tutorials based on the characters. There's cosplay based on the characters. They've done trailers for the movie. It's like going completely viral. I mean, you have to see the makeup tutorials. They're like, make yourself look like Cindy. This is how Cindy does her makeup and blah, 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 blah. They've shown how to do cosplay for the movie. There is tons and tons and tons of content about this movie, and it's a horror movie from the 80s. There's just one catch.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Wait.
This is their Tabascos. My Tabasco.
Yes, I was going to say, this is like this Tabascos, but for the big screen.
Right. And we'll explain what Tabasco means in a minute. I think that is amazing.
Wait, okay.
I could totally jump on that bandwagon.
So, okay, wait. There's this whole like social media blitz for a movie that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist at all. It started off I knew it. It started off as like a joke.
Okay.
And it just grew and grew and grew. So then what's great is that like the people who've been doing content for it, I mean, they're really creative because they're like, okay, I'm going to do today the makeup tutorial for Janice. This is how Janice wears her hair in this scene. You know the scene where she's running away from the masked killer? Okay, remember her makeup and her earrings? We're going to do that today. And they're totally making it up as they go along.
Because there is no Janice.
There is no Janice because there's no movie.
This is kind of wonderful.
It is. I was like, you know what? This is the internet winning.
Yeah.
This is TikTok and all that. You know how we say all these negative things about it? This is the internet winning. Yeah. Because when you have people that are creating content, again, makeup tutorials, cosplay, trailers.
It's lighthearted.
And they're making it based on a movie that doesn't exist. And they're coming up with these characters and these looks, as they go. I think that's pretty genius. I freaking love it.
Brilliant.
I was at it first, but I think it was great. So here's the thing.
Yes, Tabascos.
So for years, this is not something new. for years, whenever somebody asks me, oh, where should we go out to dinner or for lunch? I'm like, you should go to Tabasco's. Oh, really? What's Tabasco's? I'm like, oh, Tabasco's is like, I come up with different stuff all the time.
But you're consistent.
It's like a Mexican-Cuban fusion here in Miami, where it's like you could get a vaca frita birria taco,
It's definitely fast casual.
Okay, that sounds really good.
good.
It's fast casual.
casual.
They have like different specials. They have a brunch that's great.
It is.
They have a guava. They have a guava orange juice mimosa. For
It's
brunch.
so good.
It's so good.
And it's bottomless.
It is bottomless.
Yes.
No, and you got to check out their Wednesdays. They're loaded tostones. Buy one get one free.
Oh my god!
It is amazing.
And it amazes me that they're so consistent across all locations.
But what's great is that Tabasco's doesn't exist. And I will tell people everything I just said, and then they'll be like, oh, where's Tabasco's? And I'm like, oh, no, it's in my imagination. It doesn't exist. But now it's sort of become a joke among all of our friends. Then I'm like, oh, are you going to go to Tabasco's again? Yeah, I'm going there now.
Yeah, sometimes I do crave their lava cake.
But sometimes we do what I just did, that I'll come up with the menu on the spot, and it's like amazing.
The best part about it is that the menu, because it's on the spot, it's probably bigger than the Cheesecake Factory menu at this point. Like, it's Pangea. Pangea Grill.
Yeah. If you know, you know. But so when I heard about this movie Zepotha, that they're making things up as they go along, I'm like, oh, that's Tabasco's. That's what I've been doing all these years, and I've made this fake restaurant, and I keep telling people to visit Tabasco's. I wonder how many people have Googled Tabasco's near me.
I wonder how many people now, after listening to this, may open up a Tabasco's. They do franchise.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
They have a great franchise model.
The model's fantastic because it's not as proprietary as McDonald's.
No, it's not. And you don't need $1 million to open it. You could do it with 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're willing to finance.
Yeah.
They do help you finance, yes.
They do. Yeah, but those half off tostones on Wednesdays,
I mean, it's worth it.
It's better than Taco Tuesday.
True. Well, because on Taco Tuesdays, they only let you have the tacos for like $2 each.
It's mucho tostones miércoles.
Yeah.
Okay, not for nothing, but Tabasco sounds pretty freaking amazing.
We should open it. You know what? Let's pack in this Bim Pam Pollo and open a Tabasco.
No, Bim Pam Pollo at Tabasco's.
At Tabasco's. Ooh, it's a pop up at Tabasco's. Yes.
Yeah. Listeners, have you been to Tabasco?
Would you like to go to Tabasco's?
If you do, let us know. We'll make it happen. Does anybody want to finance Tabasco's? Because we're...
Oh my God. You know what you should do?
Go to Shark Tank and be like, we have an idea.
You should start an Instagram for Tabasco's.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
You should start an Instagram for Tabasco's.
And see where this goes. Tabasco's Cuban Mexican flair fusion. Oye,
that would be great.
A vaca frita birria taco sounds amazing.
I want that shit right now.
Yeah.
Like, can you just make that?
Oh my gosh. You know what would be amazing? A vaca frita birria taco a la milanesa. Oh my holy heartburn. That sounds amazing.
You know what? Just take an omeprazole. You'll be fine.
Okay, we need to make this happen.
We really do.
Bim Pam Pollo and Tabasco's, because we weren't complicated enough.
No, let's just add more shit to the pile.
Listen, hopefully we're going to be getting a food truck. If we get a food truck, we can do whatever the hell we want.
That's true. Maybe the food truck, the pop-up can be Bim Pam Pollo and the food truck can be Tabasco's.
So, Zepotha, you have nothing on Tabasco.
Yeah. So, listen, Tabasco's crawled so Zepotha could run.
Yeah. So I've been doing this for years, people. And I'll tell, I'll do it with a straight face. I'll be like, have you checked out Tabasco's? It's really good.
You know what? I'm surprised that there has never been a place called Tabasco's. Because that seems like it's there for the taking.
Yeah. And I took it.
And you took it. And you ran
Nobody
with it.
could say I don't use my imagination.
This is true. You are very proactively
No,
imaginative.
dude. We could open up an Instagram page and I'll have weekly videos on today.
But you know what you should do? Okay, because here's the thing. If you open up an Instagram, you would have to put tabascos.com, right, as a website. But to get around that, open up a Tabasco's fan page. So that way you don't have to lead it to an actual site. It's just people who love Tabascos and are posting the pictures of their meals at Tabascos.
And I could use stock images of
Right,
people
yeah.
eating like tacos.
Yeah, just be like, like just a random like Getty image.
Like a random white guy,
Yeah.
you know? Tabasco's reminds me of my Cuban Mexican grandmother's cooking.
This is the kind of thing that we would do. If we had more time on our hands, I would
I'd
totally do it.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, everybody,
Tabasco's and Zepotha.
you could go watch Zepotha and then have dinner at Tabasco's.
Most of them are located near a Cineplex.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's great. And I saw some of the makeup tutorials, and I saw the cosplay ones. And
I know there's cosplay.
Yeah, they totally dress up like the made-up characters. That's why I said the internet won.
That's wonderful.
Won,
I'm glad. You know what? It's heartwarming to see nice, harmless, lighthearted, fun things like that once in a while. I'm being.
Anyway, bueno, let's get back to school.
Yes.
So school started this week, as we know.
Yes.
And for
The real horror show for some.
Yeah, for those of us who have kids in the, I just don't want to say in the Dade County public school system. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But for those of us who have kids in school, going back to school has now turned into supply lists, passwords, and portals, because that's pretty much all that it is.
Oh, I wish supply list had started with a P, so you would have the full alliteration.
It's supply list, passwords, and portals, because it's like you have to get your supply list, which generally is gotten from the portal. But to log into the portal, you need the password, and you never have the password because it's always
talking about
changing.
Zepotha again?
No,
Like, what is this?
no. Any listener who has a kid of school age will attest to this, right? You have to go to the portal, and then you have your iReady password. iReady's a whole other cluster F.
This sounds like the worst game of Dungeons and Dragons ever.
No. And it makes me think. I've sort of hinted this on the podcast before. Like, it makes me think of my school experience. How my parents had no clue what was going on in my school. Like, they would drop me off at 8:00 and pick me up at 2 or 3, whatever time it was. And those 6-7 hours that were there, it was a void. Like,
you could have been tilling the fields for all they
didn't
knew.
know who my teacher was. They didn't know what time I had lunch.
They didn't like.
My parents didn't speak English, and my school was all American.
You went to the white school.
Yeah, we're all like Americano.
Right.
My parents, the only time my parents would set foot in school was during the Christmas show, because it's a Christmas show.
They didn't go to open house.
No, like, they didn't go to open house. Like, que eso? Like, they never went to open house. Nothing. They had no clue what was going on in school. So that's why when I hear them be opinionated now about like the schoolwork kids get, and I'm like,
right.
wait, what's your reference? Because you had no idea. Because
unless you had another child somewhere else.
Because when Tristan did his science experiment last year or whatever on a tri-board, my dad's like, ay, lo que los niños tienen que hacer. I'm like, excuse me, my tri-board, which I won first place in the school, is still in my bedroom at your house. Like,
and tri-boards, we did tri-boards. Like, it's not new.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. But it's so interesting because, like, I feel that my parents' case, which is very, very common with children that came from parents who were immigrants and hadn't been here in the U.S. too long. The parents, in part because of the language barrier, didn't have the opportunity to be involved in school.
True.
Also,
true.
a lot of the parents have like blue collar jobs or many or multiple jobs and don't have the time off or the ability to be as involved in school as right now it takes to have a kid in school. Because I'm one of those people that, like, I'm involved in most of the activities in my kid's school, and it's still not enough sometimes. And that's why I think that, like, it's so different now in terms of the input and what they require, not only from the child, but as like a collaborative effort with the parent, because they have so much.
I get that vibe.
They have so much volume of work, and I'm not complaining that they have volume of work, because as I say, when you're a kid in school, that's your only job. So
do the work,
that's your only job. So I don't feel bad that you have a lot of projects and stuff like that. You're living rent free, and it's your only job, right? But it I feel that now it's a lot of input, and as I said, there's so many apps and so many portals and so many passwords, and you have to go here and you have to do iReady and you have to do all this stuff. Like something that they do now that's very common that they didn't do in our generation was like this summer reading or summer homework packet.
There were summer reading lists when we were like in high school, but that's relatively new.
That wasn't especially
like a homework packet.
Especially
that's
in
new.
elementary school, that wasn't something we had, and now they have it, and it's like, también give the kid a break, but the supply lists, and I do not mind providing everything and even more to the teachers, in reference to the supply list, because, teachers are, as we say, are your everyday heroes.
Yep, underpaid.
And they have to put up with so much, and they're underpaid.
Did your teacher provide like an Amazon list of, because I saw that going around on Instagram. A lot of like teachers would post, this is my Amazon wish list of,
I don't think
of things.
this teacher this year had an Amazon list, but they did have a list, which we had to get in the portal, and we had to renew the password. To get. But, I don't mind giving them what's on the list and then some. But there are a lot of things on the list which weren't even like something you even thought about when we were in school. Like, it's a lot of wipes. A lot of wipes.
I feel like they asked for wipes and hand sanitizers. And lots of cleaning supplies.
And this was even the case before COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, were we just dirtier when we were in school? Because nobody had wipes.
We didn't care.
You would go wash your hands with the powdery soap.
Yes. If you were lucky, you had the pink one.
The pink one, that was always rusted.
It was always rusted.
Always rusted.
It doesn't exist outside of a rusted dispenser.
But yeah, it's like going back to school now. It's such a complicated process, and it really wasn't like that before. And it's not a criticism on anyone or a judgment on anything. Just times,
it's just different.
Times change. And again, it makes me think of like when I was a kid. My parents, again, they hadn't been here very long. They didn't speak the language. My dad had 3 jobs at one point. My mom couldn't. She had her job. When were they going to be involved in school, and when were they going to be up? Until like 12 at night, looking at the list and looking at my iReady. They just couldn't. And now, like, the part of your child's success involves your input. I'm sure there's kids who don't and succeed, but I feel that today there's so much input that is required from the parental unit or your guardian that it's very different. It's very different now than we were a kid. So, back to school, everybody.
Yeah, I don't have kids, so I have no clue about any of that stuff. But I will say, it just seems like parents now, and again, I'm basing this on you all, my friends who have kids, are just, you have to be part of your kid's school. I mean, my parents were, but to even more of a degree than I recall my parents being involved. You know,
I tell you, like, I'm one of those people that I'm very involved in my kids'
Well,
school.
you're a classroom parent,
and they all know me. I participate in career day and all that. And it's funny how in the last school year, a couple of the teachers came up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, we have great news. We would love for you to be part of the PTA." And I'm like,
nope.
Like, I think it was for like vice president or secretary or something. And I'm like, I have my office. Actually, I have multiple offices. I have Ping Pong Pollo. I have the podcast. I have political work. I'm like, I can't. like, I was like thinking of my calendar, and I was like, I just can't. Humanly, I can't.
Yeah, it just physically cannot happen.
It's funny. Like, I
love that you learned to say no.
I know, right? That took me a while. It took me over 40 years.
It did.
Learn to say no.
But here we are.
It's funny that, like, I could totally, in my personal life, think of several people that I know that if they were part of, like, the PTA, like the parent, and they yielded that power, they totally would, like, go to their head. They'd be Christina Applegate and
Bad Moms.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if I would.
If you were president of the PTA, I could see you going both. You would be one of the extremes. I don't think you would be in the middle.
I could be a benevolent dictator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
As long as you align with me and we're all good, we're good.
So parents, listeners who are parents or have kids of school age, are you in the PTA? Are you involved in your kid's school? How is back to school shopping going for you, or when for you?
Because it's, I mean, that's it.
Mira,
School's
my
started.
back to school shopping involved this. My mom would take me maybe sometime in the summer at Kinney Shoes or Tom McCann,
Okay.
both which are gone, to buy some random cheap pair of shoes because, we didn't have Reeboks or anything like that. We didn't have uniforms, so
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
we didn't really do back to school shopping. We just wore what we wore.
You just had to make sure that you had ropa presentable.
This is like elementary school. By middle school, my parents' economy changed a little bit, and whatever.
Yeah, but elementary school was a lot of like make sure that you have things that fit you, right? That you can wear to school.
They did know when picture day was, so they would try que estuviera pelado.
Oh yes.
By picture day.
Yeah.
And then on the day of the first day of school, when I would come back from school with my list, íbamos a 5 y 10.
Rosie's 5 and 10.
Rosie's 5 and 10 on Bird Road.
Yep.
And we would buy my duotangs.
So many duotangs.
So many duotangs. And
so many duotangs.
There were the teachers or there were the subjects that required the duotang with the little
clips.
The clips, and then the ones who didn't.
Yes.
And then...
the ones with the clips were very hard to find sometimes.
I suffered every year
the
greatest heartbreak you can suffer with my back to school shopping. So in the 80s and 90s, what did every kid want for back to school?
Trapper Keeper?
They wanted a Trapper Keeper. And in the late 80s and early 90s, you especially wanted a Trapper Keeper designer series.
Yeah.
I did have a Trapper Keeper, but because I was left-handed, I couldn't use my Trapper Keeper. So, when people want to say...
You and my sister.
that they've been they've had to deal with shit since they were a kid. I'm like, I would just take the Trapper Keeper for looks. Like,
to say you have it.
To say I have it. I could never use a Trapper Keeper.
Yeah, my sister couldn't either.
But you know what, though, seriously? Did anybody ever really use a Trapper Keeper?
No, you just shove shit in there.
Because you always had your duotang.
Right, you had the duotang, and then you had the college-lined paper notebook. And
that you would leave in your desk.
Right.
Because you would leave all that in your desk, in your classroom, because it was elementary school.
Right.
So it was you had only one classroom, except for music and art.
But you didn't need a duotang for that.
Right. Although in my elementary school, our art teacher used to come to our class.
Oh, no, we would go to the art school, the art class.
Right. Music, no, we had a music room.
No, music would come to the classroom.
Music would come to the classroom. But, I don't even know who you would use, the Trapper Keeper. The Trapper Keeper. It was just for looks.
I mean, obviously, high school kids were using it too. So,
and then when I would have my designer series Trapper Keeper, what I would do is that on the side I would put a white paper in and circle the little dots. Remember? Yes. That it had a pocket on the side with holes. Yes. And I would just circle the holes. Listeners, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I want a Trapper Keeper now.
Yeah. Do they still have them?
Yeah, they do actually.
Remember how good they smelled when they were brand new?
That fresh plastic.
Think about it right now. Think about when you would pull the Velcro. Think about the sound. You're thinking about it, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that was the first time that Velcro really played a big part of my life.
The Trapper Keeper.
Yeah.
And I feel the designer series were such a step up.
They were, because it didn't just have a flap. Some of the flaps had a zigzag on it.
Yeah.
It was a design.
The Trapper Keepers are the designer series now are sort of retro and vintage.
Well, they're back.
Yeah.
That's why.
And kids probably still don't use them, especially now.
Especially now what the hell about
everything's
on the fucking iPad, yeah.
Just for looks. They used a lot of Trapper Keepers in Bayside, though, in Bayside High.
They did.
I could just see Slater walking down the stairs with the Trapper Keeper.
Maybe all of Saved by the Bell was underwritten by Mead.
No, maybe Trapper Keeper designer series was inspired by Bayside High.
No, because it was out before.
I don't think so. Trapper Keepers were the designer series were later. It was when we were in 5th grade.
That late? Really?
Yeah. They weren't in the mid to early 80s. No. So, yeah, back to school.
Oh. I kind of want to buy a Trapper Keeper now. I don't know what I would use it for, but I want to buy one.
And then,
I can keep Bean Pump Oil receipts.
It's funny. I had how was your book bag shopping?
My book bag shopping, so I had a new book bag every year. Mm-hmm. Up until I think middle school. And then that's when I got the Jansport.
So I had a book bag every year too. I remember most of my book bags.
For some reason, I remember the Jansport had to be purchased at Costco.
No, I didn't.
Mine, I don't know why we couldn't find it anywhere but Costco.
No.
And da la casualidad que my grandparents had a membership to Costco, so they
They
got it
did
for
in the
me.
80s? Who went to Costco in the 80s?
Well, no, middle school's when I got
middle
it.
school.
Middle school's when I got it. So
In the 90s, like in 1990, I didn't even know what Costco
my
was.
grandfather loved to buy in bulk.
Oh, of course. I remember most of my book bags. I remember in 6th grade, I had a Bart Simpson book bag.
Okay.
Do you remember my Bart Simpson book
do
bag?
not.
It was sort of aqua green with Bart Simpson's head all over the place. Then in 7th grade, I got a Jansport in blue, and I had that Jansport from 7th grade. That ran like my monk costume. I had it from 7th grade all the way to junior year. And
That sounds about right.
My senior year of high school, I got a different book bag from the Gap.
I remember your Gap book bag.
Yeah, that it was beige, and then the top had like brown leather.
Yes.
That book bag is still somewhere in my parents' house. My Jansport is still at my parents' house too. My
The
blue
Bart
Jansport.
Simpson one might still be there too.
And I had that Jansport. I remember that the Jansport book bag. You know, Jansport is not cheap.
No. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I remember that
Yeah.
my mom's like, "You're gonna have this book bag forever," and I did. It's like,
Wow, I remember Jansports back then were like what, $40-$50?
yeah, they were,
And that was
expensive.
expensive. Like that was super caro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I felt when I first got my Jansport book bag, I felt it was such an upgrade.
Hell yeah.
I was like, this is how the other side lives. This is how the 1% lives. Look at this Jansport book bag.
With this leather bottom.
Yeah. No, mine didn't have the leather bottom. We didn't have that much money.
Oh, okay.
No, my parents couldn't afford the leather bottom. Just the fact that they let me have a Jansport, which was a little bit more expensive, but without the leather bottom. They could afford the $40 book bag, not the 60 or $70 book bag. Ya, no, son muy caro para una maleta.
Total. Para lo que vas a usar.
Para una maleta. So vas a tirar en el piso. But yeah, Jansport was a big deal.
It was a big deal. Those are still around.
Jansports are still around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mira, but those things last forever. That's the type of thing that's quality. My North Face backpack, well, you know it.
Yeah.
Like, like that thing goes with me everywhere.
Yeah.
I've had that for over 20 years.
Shit, really? That
Yeah.
long?
Actually,
You got it in law school,
I got it my first year, 20 years this year.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's 20 years old. And that thing has been around the globe like 20 times.
Once for every year it's been owned.
I can't leave the 305 without my
Actually, that's what you travel with.
that I travel everywhere
That
with
is
it.
what you and if it's like a quick trip, that's what you shove your clothes in
But
there.
even if it's a long trip, I take it with me.
No,
'cause I put-
but yeah.
So, anyway.
you use that sucker all the time.
So what do you
Jansport.
have going on?
I actually don't have much going on this week. It's been a very relaxing week for me.
yeah?
Mostly just, aquí con la lluvia.
I don't know what relaxing means.
No.
No. I don't know what relaxing means.
I think, you know what, you may not know what relaxing is, but listeners, depending on when you hear this, Derry and May have already gone to see Beyonce.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to the Renaissance tour, people. I'm going to the Renaissance tour.
He treated himself. Why?
did.
Because as he just said, he doesn't know what relaxing is.
I
So
don't know
it's
what
like, fuck
relaxing
it.
is. I'm always doing stuff for other people between, my multiple offices, my Pimpampollo, the podcast, everything that I do. I sometimes don't have a day off in months. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go see Beyonce. And I do care how much the ticket costs. But I'm
Within
gonna go
reason,
see
within
Beyonce.
reason, within
And
reason.
I got a Beyonce ticket less than 24 hours before the show. So booyah!
Yes, and you had to pay the wonderful Ticketmaster service
The
fee.
Ticketmaster service fee was almost it's like half of the ticket,
Yeah.
expense. It was $90.
Do they charge it based on? So how do they determine the fee? Is it based on?
I don't know the witchcraft behind it.
They call it witchcraft.
You know what I love? You know what I love though? That they have the audacity to call it
A convenience
the convenience fee. You know what? I would accept it a whole lot more if they were like the fuck you fee. Like
service fee.
Yeah.
What-
they
whatever.
could call it the fuck you fee.
Right, but
And
let's say
I'd
you wanna
be-
clean it
and
up,
I'd be
right.
like, you know what? Okay, at least you're being truthful, Ticketmaster.
This is true.
Like,
You're not pretending.
you're not pretending.
You're not pretending, no.
Right? No, the convenience fee. And my ticket was like $90. It was $89.
Yeah, for
One ticket.
a code that gets scanned on your phone.
Yes.
There's no physical ticket. They're not mailing you anything.
No.
You're not printing anything out. I mean, you could, but you're not.
No.
So it's literally just to generate a code on your phone.
Yeah. Yep.
$90.
Yep. You know what I really
This
wanted
is
to
why
go,
I have issues with.
You know what I
Ticketmaster.
really wanted to go to this show because I've seen Beyonce live several
Yeah,
times. I'm not really into the Renaissance album. I'm sorry, come at me, Beehive. I'm not. I don't dislike it. I think it's fine. It's just not my favorite album of hers. It's not even like my top 3 or top 4. I'm a Beyonce fan. I like Beyonce. I'm not a Beehive fan. I'm not. I've always liked her. And as I said, I've seen her in live before. I saw her like in the second row some years ago. So all that. So it's not like, well, this is somebody I've been dying to see and I've never seen. I really wanted to go because I feel that like this was like a huge, massive world tour that's like sort of a pop culture moment. So I just wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be like, you know what? I went to that show.
Okay.
And that's similar how I feel about, even though I'm not a big I'm not a Taylor Swift fan at all.
Right.
But that's sort of how I feel about the Eras tour. The Eras tour is like a big deal. It really is.
But okay, let me ask you this question then, because I could make the argument that every time these women go on tour, it's a big deal. Like, it's been a big deal every time that they go on tour. So what makes it different this time around?
I think this time it's big. Look, I remember.
Do you think that after this,
I remember when I joined Instagram in 2015, and I remember that summer Taylor Swift was touring for the 1989 tour, and that was a massive world tour.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And I remember it was all over Instagram. But I feel that now the difference between then and the Eras tour, or even the Renaissance tour, because look, I remember the Formation tour for
that
Beyonce was a huge tour.
Yeah.
But I feel that now it's like it's become like a spectacle. Like, people dress up for it. Like in Taylor Swift's shows, they gave out like, people make merch and they give it out, and it's like an experience now. And it's just not going to the concert and leaving. It's like a whole package. And aside from the fact that these 2 tours in particularly have helped with inflate,
this is true, the economy.
The economy. I mean,
yeah, everywhere it goes.
I mean, you didn't even hear that before.
True.
Right? So I just feel that there are like big pop culture moments that, I've always said, like, I like being part of those moments. I think I told you that my whole goal was to go to a concert that was shot for a DVD.
Well, but you did.
I've been to a couple of them.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you have. Yeah,
I was like, I want to be at a show that was the DVD. That was like the one they put.
I was there.
Like, I was there. That is the show that I want to go to.
Right.
Not the same tour. The show. And I've been to a few. But no, I was like, this is a moment, and if I can, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it either. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna lose sleep about it. But I wanted to be part of it because it's like, it's a big deal,
I just wonder if the next tour will be as big a deal, because I guess that's where I'm coming from, is like, where does it end, right? Where does the big deal of it all end? Because you could make the argument that every time these women go on tour, it's a pop culture moment. Then it's the whole thing of like, if everybody's special, then is anybody special?
Yeah, but this is big on another scale.
Right, but what I'm saying is, okay, next album, next tour, is it going to be this big, or do you think this is like the pinnacle of their powers, so to speak, and the next tour, just by virtue of it, will probably be,
I think it depends.
Scaled down.
I think that scaled down, I don't know, because at the end of the day, singers nowadays make most of their money on touring.
Yeah.
They don't make it on record sales anymore.
Yeah, it's merch.
As far as Beyonce is on the brink of being a legacy act, which is not a bad thing. I mean,
right, but I mean, just where she's
on the brink of being a legacy act, that if she tours, people are going to go. That's sort of like the same with Madonna. When Madonna says, I'm going on a tour, people go. Even if they haven't bought a Madonna record in 20 years.
Sure.
People go. The same thing with like U2, U2 are past their prime, their commercial prime decades ago, but they put on a world tour and it sells out immediately.
Duran I went to was packed.
Yeah. Duran I didn't realize sold out an arena, like arenas. They're selling out arenas. Depeche Mode is selling out arenas and stadiums.
And again, when was the last time these were commercially viable acts?
Right. But to answer your question, I mean, I don't know. I just think that it's like a big, these tours in particular, maybe it's the timing, maybe
they're all happening at the same time.
They're happening at the same time. They're a big deal. And I like to go to concerts. I love going to concerts.
No, that's true. That's true.
Even for people that I'm not kind of like crazy about, it's like, yeah, it's a concert. It's fun.
It's like Jose's friend Eastland. They go, Jose, Eastland, and Felipe. They go to like every concert.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how big, how small the act. They just love the whole spectacle of going to a show.
Yeah, me too. I'm like that too. I love it.
Yeah.
It's fun, you know. It's something different. I feel that now, especially with social media and the fact that you could record it, it's very different, you know.
Unless you're at Madonna's.
Huh?
Unless you're at a Madonna show.
Well, you know. But yeah. Do you suffer from concert amnesia though?
I don't. Well, I have a general amnesia, but I don't think so. Like, I'm not one of those people who goes to a show and then completely forgets everything, like, or realizes that they weren't engaged.
So,
in that
concert
moment.
amnesia, listeners, it's actually a real thing, and they've had like neurologists talk about it, and they're explaining that when, it happens in a lot of different circumstances and a lot of different events, but they use concerts as the best example because what they explain is that when you are at a concert, you're so overstimulated that your brain is trying to catch up with like the overstimulation and like the elation of being there, that in the process it forgets to record certain
like you transcend
memories. And it's like a real thing. And they started talking about it because of the Taylor Swift era's tours, because there were people who were like, I went to the show and I don't remember shit.
I'd be pissed because those were not cheap tickets to not remember anything.
They weren't. So,
but no,
it's a great experience. I mean, look, last year I went to see The Weeknd with Tristan, and that has been one of like the best nights of my life. Like, we had such a blast, and it was so good. And if you're into that type of thing and you enjoy it, you know, do it.
Right? No, I agree. But I'm that guy who I need to go to. If I'm going to a show, I need a spectacle. Mm-hmm. You know, I like the pomp and circumstance and the costumes.
What's the best concert you've ever been to?
The best
What's
concert.
the first concert you went to and the best concert you've been to?
So the first concert I remember ever going to, it was actually a Beach Boys concert.
Wow.
Eons ago. And
you know I love the Beach Boys.
Oh, I'm all about the Beach Boys. And it was at the Bayside Amphitheater. What was the best concert I've ever been to?
Do you like the Beach Boys more than the Beatles?
It's heresy, but I'm going to go with yes.
You say heresy?
I think it's heresy.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, because heresy, Heresy.
Not hearsay?
Well, hearsay is Hear.
Well, I know what hearsay is.
Right. No,
trust me, the hearsay
that's true.
evidence is a killer. It's one of the hardest parts of law school.
Like heresy is when you're saying something blasphemous.
Oh, you would be the type to use that word. Go ahead.
But yeah, I like the Beach Boys more than the Beatles. But best concert, I judge it on a sliding scale because I love certain concerts for different reasons. Mm-hmm. So like when I saw J-Lo in Vegas with my sister, that was a hell of a show, but it was me and my sister, you know, we had the floor seats, we're in the pit. So like I love that show for that reason. You know, when we saw the Spice Girls on tour the first time, like I loved it because it was just, we were on the lawn, but it was, you know, just us.
It was debauchery without sex and drugs.
Right. It was just us having like a stupid good time. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of all over the place in terms of what is my favorite concert. But I will say two shows that I would put up there, three. I'm going to put three. Aerosmith.
Oh, okay. That's surprising.
Dolly Parton.
Okay.
And Tina Turner.
Oh, wow. I've been to two of those three.
So those are the three, like, you know, top level. These are icons. This is, you know, these are acts that I'm glad I'm seeing because, I mean, Tina's no longer with us, but, you know, these are legends. You want to talk legacy acts? These are legends. These are icons. So I would put those up there. And actually, Aerosmith was the first show that I went to after 9/11.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's an interesting mix.
Yeah.
My first concert was Angela Carrasco at the James All Night Center. Angela Carrasco. My parents were really into Angela Carrasco in the early 90s. And I don't know why they took me.
Could not get a sitter.
My grandmother didn't go.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, that's right.
I think they took me because my brother went when he was dating. Him and my sister-in-law were dating at the time. They were married. So I don't know. I think maybe they felt bad that like my brother was gonna go and like.
And your brother?
I don't know how my brother ended up going, but he did.
Did they trick him and tell him like George Michael was gonna be there?
I don't know. But yeah, it was a reason to get dressed up. And I remember we got dressed up to go see Angela Carrasco at the James All Night Center.
As one does.
As one does.
Yeah.
And I actually remember the show.
Oh, you do?
I remember
Well,
the show.
why am I surprised?
So that was the first concert I went to. Best concert I've been to. So, again, as you said, there's a few. I've said this story before. I saw Michael Buble at the Detroit Masonic Temple. When I mean on the brink of superstardom, I think it was like the week before.
Yeah.
Like, he became
pretty
a
much,
superstar.
yeah.
Because he had released his second album and he had come out with Feeling Good. Feeling Good was already out. And Feeling Good was a song that made him
catapulted him.
a superstar.
Yeah.
And this was like, I think like the week before that song went out like crazy. And it was at the Masonic Temple, which is a very, very intimate theater. And I was like, literally, they let you lean up against the stage. Like I had my arms on the stage.
Oh, wow.
That is like how, like Michael was right in front of us.
You were playing in the band.
So it felt very like intimate. Like he was singing to us there. Yeah. And it was an amazing show. Michael Buble is a hell of a showman. And I was like really into that genre of music at that time. So definitely there. I would also put up there Madonna, the Confessions tour.
That's such a good
because I was in the third row.
Oh yeah, you were in the floor seats.
She was in front of me. And even though I had seen her in concert before, in that particular show that she was like, I could almost touch her. I was starstruck. I was like, there is Madonna who is...
And this was like peak Madonna.
In front of me. And oh my God, this is like somebody that I've been listening to her music in my house. Like my parents, my brother have been playing her music since I was like 4 years old. Right. Like she's right there. I would also put up there the Weeknd's concert last year, the After Hours Till Dawn tour was like a spectacle. It was, I mean, there was a freaking moon it was just a spectacle.
The tides changed.
If I have to put the best concert, it's tied, and they're both U2. I would tie the 1997 Pop Mart tour, which was a huge deal. They came out of a lemon. That's the one that came out of the lemon. But that was like the first concert I went to by myself.
Okay, like as an adult.
Yes,
okay.
I went on my own.
Right.
I bought that ticket and I went on my own. And that had the largest LED screen at the time. And it was freaking mind-blowing. If you see that show now, it still looks like new.
It holds up.
Yeah, it holds up. So I would say that. And when I saw them a few years back at the Joshua Tree tour, that I camped out at Joe Robbie Stadium.
I was going to say, that's the one where you were like at...
Because I was like, I am going to be in front of Bono.
Right.
That show was amazing. That show was... Wow. That was... I had a moment when he sang Where the Streets Have No Name and like won and all that. Like, it was... Shit got real. Like, so yeah.
See, I would have thought that at least top 5 would have been the one where you shared a moment with Mariah, but
that's
just me.
You know, I mean, I will go see...
Only because you shared the moment.
I will go see Mariah till the cows come home. Mariah doesn't put on a spectacle. No, and it's fine. It's fine. That's not
but you know what you're getting. Right,
that's not what you're going to go see. You're not going to go see a show that's going to knock your socks off.
Right.
You're going to go see her sing. And that's fine. That's what I signed up for. When I saw Guns N' Roses a few years back, that was also a big deal.
I would have liked to see them.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. I didn't get to the concert late because everybody I went to the concert was like, oh, can you drop us off at the entrance and like go park? So I went and I parked and I walked into the second song they were playing. The first song they played was Welcome to the Jungle. Oh. So I missed Welcome to the freaking jungle.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really upsetting. So
they'll probably tour again. They toured not that long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So
at this point, again, they're a legacy act. They'll just keep doing the rounds.
But, you know, I got to sit through the 25 minutes of November Rain, and it was worth it. So, listeners, what's your favorite concert? If anybody tells me that their favorite concert is Jiao Jiao and the DREM tour, get out of here.
You hadn't done JoJo in a while, so I think our listeners appreciate that.
Yeah. You know what was a really good concert? Britney Spears' Dream Within a Dream tour.
That was a good show.
That was a good show. She got wet. That wet scene when she sang Baby One More Time, that was incredible.
Moisture has never looked so good.
Yeah. You know, it was also really good that I went to see Eminem
I'd like to go see Eminem.
I've seen a lot of people.
You have. I mean, as many concerts as I've been to,
I've been to a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
I even been to Car Cab. What is it? A Car Cab for Cutie. What is it called?
Death Cab for Cutie.
Death Cab for Cutie.
Really?
Yeah, I went with my friends in Michigan.
Oh, because I was gonna say, how did you wind up at Death Cab?
That's totally a white person thing. Like
that
the only thing I didn't do with my friends in Michigan, I never got to see Dave Matthews. You know, because that's your total.
But that's the summer.
That's the total white rite of
Experience,
passage.
yeah.
Like you go see Dave Matthews. I would totally go see Dave Matthews.
I like Dave Matthews. I don't know that I would go see Dave Matthews.
I would go see. Why not?
Because Dave Matthews concerts just seem like it's like Woodstock light.
I have a friend who he goes when Dave Matthews, especially, I don't know if they still tour every summer, but for a while they toured every summer. Yeah. He would always go to like at least 2 shows. Like they would play like usually South Florida and Northern Florida, and he would always go to like at least 2 shows in Florida. But he would also go to a show they would always have in Wisconsin. I forget where, because it was like the best acoustically like sound amphitheater and like that they would always play. So he would always go there. And then he would download through like, I don't know, BitTorrent files, every single set from every single show in the tour. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of people that I like, but not even I will do that. Like
that's a little much. It's a little. We're gonna call that the line.
Yeah. So, something I wanted to touch upon this week, because it's just something that I find. I don't know if I find it funny. I don't know if I find it ironic. I don't know if I find it like a very
so many options.
You know, it's illegal. But there was this lady that they caught down here in South Florida, that she somehow got her hands on an Amazon jacket, and she was stealing people's Amazon boxes. Right?
Wow.
So it made it seem a little bit less alarming that you saw somebody
with an Amazon. Right.
And you know, obviously, people stealing Amazon packages happens all over the country.
That's why we have Ring cameras
and all that. And you know, my whole thing is, aside from the fact that it's illegal, it's like I think that's a really stupid form of theft.
You don't know what you're getting.
You don't know what you're getting. Maybe you're getting a box of Sazón. Like
anybody who steals the Amazon packages that come to my apartment, if they leave it outside, 9 times out of 10, you know what they're gonna get? Boat trays, takeout boxes, or dip containers. You know, whatever. Like so. Good luck with the resale value.
I mean, I know that some people buy really pricey things on Amazon, but I buy like the most. I usually buy,
but not anymore.
Phone chargers.
Yeah, but the average person now, I think, uses Amazon to buy toilet paper. You know,
right. So like I'm thinking like, I mean, this is like really. It's like playing Russian roulette because it's like you could get caught and go to jail and be arrested over what?
Toilet paper.
Over toilet paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're
over mouse pads.
Yeah, your sentence is going to be the same.
Yes,
irrespective of what's inside the box.
Over, you know, a phone charger. Over, or as I say, a box of Sazón.
Yeah, it's the worst outcome of
through Amazon. Clearly. No, there's like this really good seasoning pack that I use for vegetables that I can't find anywhere. They had it at Aldi, but I can't find anywhere. So I found the distributor and I found the Amazon site and I bought it from them. And I'm like, man, whoever steals this package is gonna be
so
disappointed,
or happy.
Well, I mean, they're gonna have tasty broccoli.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they need some seasoning in their
life.
But
it's so like stupid,
right? It's
so stupid because it's like, why would you do that? It's not like, bueno.
It's a Tiffany box.
Amazon delivered a 70-inch TV screen on your front porch and left it there, and like, here's this Sony
right, gets advertised what it is, right. No,
or something that has very distinct packaging, right,
like a TV, more or less, it's huge, right?
But this is like, you know what they might get from me that I order a lot from Amazon, my probiotic gummies. Oh yeah, probiotic gummies are expensive, and on Amazon I get them two. It's not 2 for 1, but I get them a pack of 2 bottles, and they're much cheaper than buying them.
That may be, but I'm not going to jail for stealing probiotic gummies.
Yeah, it's a value.
It's not if I get sentenced to jail.
So it's like go all that trouble, police chasing
for probiotic
gummies.
No.
Yeah,
I'd rather be constipated. That's fine.
You'd rather have bad bowel health.
I'd rather have bowel. Yeah, exactly. Bad bowel health than go to jail. No, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
No. Let me tell you. It's August, and while summer may be ending, back to school is just around the corner. That means it's time to start packing lunches again with healthy options like dairy. Whether yogurt, cheese sticks, or grilled cheese, there's many ways to include dairy for those back-to-school lunches and ensure that kids get protein, vitamin D, and calcium. And that's in addition to breakfast with some milk, either by the glass or in a bowl of cereal. For more ways to include dairy as part of your back-to-school routine, visit floridamilk.com or lechedeflorida.com and get more info as well as recipes. Trust me, including dairy in their lunches is way easier than trying to remember how to solve word problems. Has this made us thirsty?
It has made us thirsty. I think it's time.
So I want to give my last soda. It's soda time.
Yes.
I want to give my last soda to this guy called Steven Rivero from Barber of Athletes, which is a local barber shop.
Okay.
And I just want to give a shout out to him because he was giving free haircuts to kids now for back to school. And a lot of these kids are,
That's awesome.
Kids that, come from like underprivileged neighborhoods and, maybe the parents can afford it. And, even haircuts have gotten expensive.
Everything is expensive.
Do you
need a password for that too?
Oh,
For a haircut?
Yeah.
I don't know. A portal?
What is that I said? I said list passwords and portals.
Yeah.
It's gotten so expensive in addition to all the expenses that parents have to go through to send their kids back to school. So I just thought it was like really nice that it's a local barbershop that they were doing this and they were giving kids free haircuts. I mean, every little, when you don't have a lot, every little bit helps. So,
absolutely.
Last soda to them.
Absolutely. So my last soda, excuse me, my last soda is actually, it's something I kind of wanted to talk about, but I wanted to give it as a last soda as well. So this week, and as of this Friday, the 18th, the movie Blue Beetle has opened. And I saw it a couple days ago, and it's being touted as the first Latino headlining superhero movie because Jaime Reyes and his whole family, they're Latino, etc., and it's all a Latino cast, etc. First of all, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but what I will say, because this is also, we always get into this whole scenario of now this has to be all things to all people, and it has to try to represent the entire Latino experience, and it has to all this and that. What I love the most about the movie is that this is not a Hispanic family. This is not a Latino family. This is not a Latinx family. This is a Mexican-American family. They go into the specificity of what, we're not Mexican, but it goes into the specificity of what that is culturally, food-wise, slang. They really make it a point to show you that they are Mexican culture. And by doing that, it's something that you and I have said many times before. I always think of like with Jenny Lorenzo, because they go to the specificity of it, now it resonates more with Cuban Americans, Colombian, Venezuelan, etc. Because it's not trying to be everything for everyone. It is being what it is, and we can take from it the similarities that we see, such as the fact that like the grandmother has plays a very big role in the family. The fact that they use like little nicknames for each other, like the George Lopez character always calls the main character Cabezón. Little things like that, which are very, very specific. But then they also, there's a whole running gag, by the way, where they keep calling the main character Mariela del Barrio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They play Mariela del Barrio's opening theme. They keep singing it over and over again because the whole because the whole joke is that like, he's the poor kid and then he meets this rich girl.
And there's no Soraya reference?
There's no Soraya reference. But, they say like, oh, you're like Maria del Barrio, except you're Maria and she's the rich white guy or whatever. They make references to Chapulín Colorado. They make references to Sábado Gigante. Actually, they show a clip of Sábado Gigante. So again, they show things that we all can relate to, but by not trying to be this weird non-entity of overarching culture, they achieve something that I think really resonates more.
Right, they're not Latin adjacent.
Exactly, they're not like Tony Plana said when I spoke to him, where they were playing the characters on Ugly Betty. They didn't know at that moment what ethnicity they were. So he's like, well, we're playing them as the Genericans. You know,
them,
the Genericans. And you know, the movie, the entire cast, or at least the family cast, they're all Mexican or Mexican American. The director is Puerto Rican. Then there's Susan Sarandon, who's not. You know, she's white, but there's just a very specific cultural element there, and I love the fact that they filmed clearly some parts of it in downtown Brickell that is meant to stand in for like the gentrified portion of the fictional city that they're in, and I'm like, well, of course, Brickell.
Yeah. Oh, so it's in a fictional city.
It's a fictional city called Palmera City. But I strongly say, you know, I love the Blue Beetle character. I've loved all iterations of the Blue Beetle character. It's a DC Comics property. Go see it. It has its moments where it kind of lags a little bit, but I think overall the beauty of it is that it is representative of a specific
in
culture.
The comic book, are they Mexican?
Jaime Reyes, yes. This Blue Beetle is the third person to have the name of Blue Beetle, and he is Mexican American, and his family is Mexican, and they do play that up in the comic book as well. So it's not something that they just kind of change for the movie, but I love how they went about it. You know, so go support it, guys. I know it's one of those things where it's like, unfortunately, this is the type of situation where, similar to like In the Heights, where it's like, if it doesn't do well, it's like, well, superhero, you know, Latino movies don't do well because the one movie that we got didn't make $1 gajillion, right? Whereas Barbie's making $1 billion, you know, it's not going to make the same amount of money. I know that, but just, you know, give it a shot. Support where we can. And again, I think it does the job better than a lot of other instances where it has to be all things to all people.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
I feel really stupid now.
Why?
Because I hadn't heard about this movie, and when you mentioned Blue Beetle, I thought it was a movie about a blue Volkswagen.
Not quite. Not quite. But that's another problem, though, because of the dual strikes. The only person who's been out promoting this movie is the poor director. Like, he's gone on social media. We follow him on social media. He's constantly like touring to all the preview screenings
because they're not part of the strike.
The directors are not. The DGA is not part of the strike. So he's out there promoting it. He's going to the preview screenings. He's having like reggaeton artists come, and then he'll post a picture with them and have them share it, you know, and things like that. So it's a horrible moment for a movie like this to come out because they can't do the promo.
Right. Yeah. Everything's messed up now. Like, yeah, I haven't seen Bill Maher in like 3 months. You know, it's.
Are we sure he's still around? I mean, has anybody checked on him? Maybe he's in a portal.
Yeah, looking for passwords.
Yes,
but that's a good one. And you know, as you say, and we've talked about here before, it's sort of like a catch-22, right? If a Latin movie or a Latin-centric movie doesn't do well, it's like, oh, you know, see, we tried, but it didn't do well. But it's like, okay, but how many white movies or like non-ethnic movies don't do well? Fail. Like,
and then we keep making it again.
Most of them do. Like,
that's
in comparison
just the odds
to what does do well, right? How many rom-coms with like top like white American actors and actresses don't do well?
We don't stop making versions of Taken just because Taken 3 didn't do well for Liam Neeson.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
So, you know, just...
I mean, and even big budget movies that don't do well.
Those are just the odds.
Yeah. So, anyway, well, okay, Well, everybody, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as a remember, grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito, and join us at Tabasco's.
Yes. The corner booth in every store.
Yes. You know that I used to think the Corner Bakery, the Corner Bakery?
Was
a chain.
The
first Corner Bakery I ever went to was in Chicago on Michigan Avenue. And it was on a corner. And I just thought that was
makes sense.
The Corner Bakery
until
I think I was in Minneapolis or something. I'm like, oh, there's a Corner Bakery like in the middle of a strip mall. Like, oh,
it's not even on a corner.
And then they opened up a Corner Bakery here in Miami in Kendall, and I was like, oh, I'm so disillusioned by the Corner Bakery from Chicago. So anyway, everybody, have a great weekend. Remember, passwords and portals.
Passwords, portals, and you know what? When you find the password in the portal, you can go to Tabasco's.
Yes, and after you've gotten your supply list.
Yes. But you can join us at for Bean Pollo this Sunday, August 20th, at New Era Collectibles.
Oh yes,
yes, and there's going to be there's a whole Star Wars thing going on. There's some people who've had roles in Star Wars.
Yes,
going to be there as well. So come on out, and
if you don't follow us on Ping Pong Pollo, do so. Ping Pong Pollo MIA.
Yes.
So have a great weekend, everybody.
Cuídense.
Bye.
Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.